Good morning, my name is Josh from CyclonesOZ, and here is your detailed weather forecast update for Saturday the 13th of September 2025. Heaps to get through in today's forecast update. Heavy rainfall now occurring up in far North Queensland. That's expected to turn to thunderstorms later today and persist throughout the remainder of this weekend and into early next week. We've got thunderstorm chances through interior parts of New South Wales and strong storms for southwestern and southeastern Australia starting from today. If you are brand new to the channel, please do consider subscribing, but let's get stuck straight into things this morning with rare rainfall for this time of the year up in far North Queensland. When I say rare, I definitely don't mean that the rainfall doesn't occur at this time of the year up in far North Queensland, but of this capacity here, this rainfall is much heavier than usual. Overnight, 79 millimetres has fallen outside of Innisfail, and it is teeming down still outside of Innisfail. You can see some pretty decent falls here. Now, the rain radar that I'm using right now doesn't actually do this rainfall justice. This one here doesn't show how this rainfall is moving, but it's basically stationary along the Cassowary Coast here, and you can see some pretty decent rainfall rates embedded within this cloud band here that's moving through out of the southeast into the northern parts of Queensland. This rainfall is strictly coastal, whilst Cairns has had some showers in the last 24 hours. The main rainfall is occurring around Innisfail, Tully, Babinda, those sort of locations. In fact, it's occurring north of Tully at this point in time. Pretty much only around the Innisfail area has received some decent rainfall accumulations, and yeah, these rain rates are looking very, very healthy for this time of the year. Check this out here. We've got estimates of around 50 to 60 millimetres an hour on the rainfall rates. It really is quite significant stuff for this time of the year. And this rainfall isn't going anywhere as well anytime soon. I've had a look at the Bureau of Meteorology radar. The rainfall is basically stationary across North Queensland. And the convective forecast models are suggesting that it's going to persist for at least another couple of hours. It will ease off a little bit later this afternoon and this evening, but you can see rainfall expected to fire out further out into the Cape York Peninsula. And we could be seeing some pretty good thunderstorm chances out there. Rainfall will return early tomorrow morning to the Cassowary Coast. We are expecting some moderate falls to persist down there between 20 to 40 millimetres through early tomorrow morning for the wettest of locations, and then thereafter it's going to be showers moving through into the Cassowary Coast. But yeah, later tonight we're looking at some pretty good thunderstorms as well into the Cape York Peninsula. All major forecast models have been suggesting a bit of a thunderstorm outbreak over the Atherton Tablelands and then north of Georgetown and Forsyth. And these thunderstorms here most likely to be widespread non-severe thunderstorms, but a few good pulse thunderstorms could fire up, and the risk of damaging winds and small periods of heavy rainfall is most certainly a possibility later this afternoon into this evening. Most likely after about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're going to see these thunderstorms really begin to properly fire up. There's nothing in the way of convective thunderstorm activity across the Cape York Peninsula right now. You can see a bit of a cloud band extending through northern Queensland, north of Huon and Maxwellton, up to about Croydon and Georgetown, with some light rainfall moving through right from the Mornington Island area into more sort of central northern parts of Queensland, inland from Charters Towers. This rainfall here is nothing heavy. We're not talking about heavy rainfall accumulations, and accumulations between 2 to 10 millimetres look to be possible today. This is cloud streaming out of the northwest, and that's expected to ease off later this afternoon and this evening. But yeah, this rainfall is a lot heavier than I expected it to be across the Cassowary Coast, and even some heavy showers moving through into the Daintree rainforest as well. Winds are quite a bit stronger as well this morning than they were yesterday morning through the Coral Sea Islands. Flinders Reef at 45 kilometres an hour out of the southeast and 41 kilometres an hour out of Holmes Reef as well. So winds are quite strong, rainfall quite strong. It definitely is a little bit more of a summery period that we're moving through into the Cape York Peninsula, into the Cassowary Coast. Rainfall isn't going anywhere as well. We do have some slightly lighter rainfall accumulations expected through next week, but you can see showers and thunderstorms through tomorrow, as we've just talked about. Rainfall and showers at forecast to continue on Monday. Could get a little bit heavier again into early Monday afternoon. Rainfall persisting through Monday night and into Tuesday. Again, rainfall likely to get a little bit heavier at times through Tuesday before the rainfall finally eases off and pulls away from the Cassowary Coast and the Cape York Peninsula in general through Wednesday and Thursday, the 17th or 18th of September respectively. It's amazing how much the forecast modelling has progressed up in far North Queensland in just the last few years. I've been calling for this rainfall since the end of August that we're going to be seeing a wet period between specifically the 13th to the 17th of September. So it is absolutely amazing how accurate the forecast modelling has been in the last couple of weeks up in far North Queensland weather-wise, and it's a great sign of things to come, especially as we head into their wettest months of the year up through the Cape York Peninsula. It gives me some great confidence in some of the forecasting that we have up there. Rainfall isn't expected to return for quite a while. We will see some showers pop up towards the later parts of September between the 22nd out to the 25th, but that's unlikely to be anything significant. And you can see high and dry for the most part right out to at least the 27th or the 28th of September. Early October has some wet signals, especially out towards mid-October. We actually have some pretty solid wet signals up in towards North Queensland. But apart from that, we're not talking about anything too crazy in the next couple of weeks or so. Now, the rainfall forecast modelling here, the actual numbers that the EastMWF are spitting out, they're definitely on the lower side of what we're going to be seeing now. We've just seen how the rainfall is moving through into the Cape York Peninsula, and this rainfall estimate here from the EastMWF is very much on the lower side. Widespread rainfall accumulations between 50 to 100 millimetres are possible into the next 4 or 5 days, and isolated totals to 200 millimetres are now possible, including the rainfall that has already fallen up into the Cape York Peninsula. You can see the GFS forecast modelling here. I'm not sure if it's willing to load in, but the GFS was calling yesterday for about 200 millimetres of rainfall over a 4 or 5 day period up in towards the Cape York Peninsula. I would say right now the best number that we're going to be seeing around Innisfail, Tully or Babinda, the highest rainfall accumulation, will be around that 180 to 200 millimetre mark, with small widespread falls between 80 to 120 millimetres. Rainfall's really started off this morning with a bang, and it's expected to continue throughout the remainder of today, so I highly doubt that we're going to be seeing sub-triple figure rainfall accumulations widespread through northern Queensland. I think it's going to be more on the lower side of those triple figure rainfall accumulation numbers between 100 to 120 millimetres around Innisfail, Babinda and Tully. Still drop in the ocean type stuff for North Queensland compared to what we're going to be seeing in the next couple of months. Keep in mind some of these locations pick up 10 metres of rainfall in any given year, so we're really talking about rainforest stuff, so 100 millimetres is barely enough to even raise an eyebrow up in towards northern Queensland. It really isn't much rainfall at all. That'll do it though for northern Queensland. I would just like to briefly touch on the thunderstorm potential through New South Wales and southeastern Queensland. I did say yesterday we do have a weak thunderstorm chance into the northeast of New South Wales later this afternoon and this evening. And when I say weak, I do mean really weak. We're not talking about widespread thunderstorms developing, but with a little bit of convective available potential energy. Temperatures are going to be up there as well. We're looking at early to mid 20s with a little bit of humidity as well. And with those showers moving through from that high pressure system situated just off the coastline, there is a very weak chance of thunderstorms into the northeast of New South Wales later this afternoon and this evening, probably around 20 to 30% or so. No chance of thunderstorms through tomorrow. They do return a little bit more in fashion towards the middle of next week. We are talking about a few thunderstorm chances on both Tuesday night and also Wednesday night into the central parts of New South Wales. Wednesday night's definitely the best chance to see some thunderstorms through the Hunter region and also into the mid-north coast. And we could also be seeing some thunderstorms into the central tablelands of New South Wales as well. Again, it is a pretty weak signal. We're not talking about anything too crazy at this point in time, but with a decent amount of convective available potential energy, especially north of the Hunter region and around the Barrington Thompson into the mid-north coast, we could be seeing values here between 500 to 1,000 joules per kilogram of air available to these thunderstorms, or in the air available to these thunderstorms if they do develop. But again, like I said, a very weak signal, not talking about anything crazy, and severe thunderstorms, whilst they are always a possibility at this time of the year, we're again not talking about anything too crazy. It's going to be moved through by a bit of a cold front coming through on Tuesday. So Tuesday will also present the chance of a few thunderstorms here and there across the New South Wales Victoria border, and then into the southern parts of New South Wales, or the southeastern corner of New South Wales. Again, very weak signal for Tuesday, and then Wednesday is kind of the proper day for these thunderstorm chances. Later on into next week, around the 19th on Friday, we do have a bit of a stronger signal coming through for thunderstorms. We're really looking out for it this time of the year is these strong cold fronts moving through that make it deep in towards New South Wales. That's where we start to see the widespread chance of severe thunderstorms, and the best chance of that, at least on this forecast run, comes through on Friday the 19th in the afternoon. But again, we're not talking about anything significant at this point in time, and then thereafter we're not talking about anything too crazy in the way of thunderstorm chances right out throughout the remainder of September, and probably out towards early October is when we're going to start to see the first proper severe thunderstorm outbreaks. Now, after about the 20th, I have also cited the chance of a Tasman Sea Low. This is something that I've been tracking for the last couple of days, but sometime between the 22nd out to about the 25th of September. Not exactly sure when exactly right now, but we could be talking about a large low pressure system into the Tasman Sea. Probably not of east coast low proportions, but it will still pack some strong winds and some heavier rainfall accumulations around it. So you can see this low pressure system developing on the 24th and the 25th of September on the European forecast modelling here. Between other major forecast models, whilst there is congruency of a bit of a low pressure system, again, I keep forgetting that the GFS doesn't really want to play ball with us today. The axis is calling for something much later on into the forecast period that I can't quite access here. There is a little bit of congruency between forecast modelling, but again, looking very long range, the future is quite uncertain. In terms of rainfall for the New South Wales east coast, there will be some rainfall into the later parts of next week, around the 20th and the 21st of September next weekend, especially into the southeast of New South Wales, but thereafter thereafter. Regardless of if a low pressure system forms into the Tasman Sea, it's still way too early to tell what rainfall we can be expecting into one of the last weeks of September, the second last and the last week of September for the New South Wales East Coast. Still is a little bit too early to tell at this point in time. The next week, though, is going to bring some pretty turbulent weather towards southwestern and southeastern Australia. I'm going to start over with Western Australia just briefly because we do have a strong low pressure system moving through. And you can see that in the satellite imagery this morning. We have had a few showers and storms move through this morning into the southwest corner of WA. The main cold front is still offshore right now. It's just about to approach the southwest capes now. It's not a strong one at all. And in fact, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this is just a storm in a teacup. But this is the stuff that we're looking out for down here. If you've got an eagle eye, you'll be able to see the speckled cloud that we're beginning to see here from this large low pressure system that's moving towards Western Australia. This is that vigorous polar air mass that's going to come through tomorrow and really rock our weather scene through tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon throughout the southwest. Let's have a look at the forecast right now. You can see rainfall and showers expected to pick up throughout the Perth metro area in the next couple of hours before that main frontal system arrives later this afternoon after about 4 or 5 o'clock. This will bring falls between 5 to 25 millimetres through the Perth metro area and the Perth Hills. Lighter accumulations forecast in the north, heavier accumulations in the southeast and in the hills. Rainfall accumulations into the wheat belt will be between that 5 to 15 millimetre mark, and rainfall accumulations around the south coast between about 10 to 20 millimetres or so. Rainfall will then ease off a little bit through later Saturday night, and then you can see that vigorous southerly air mass sweeping through into the southwest of WA from early tomorrow morning, and that's going to bring widespread rainfall, strong winds, and possible small hailstones as well. Now, we don't have a severe weather warning raised yet for this low pressure system, and I've been very inclined to say that we're most likely not to see a severe weather warning system, but I might walk back a little bit on my forecast that I produced yesterday. We're looking at some pretty strong wind gusts here, winds between 80 to 90 kilometres an hour, which could approach 100 kilometres an hour at times throughout the southwest capes and the south coast. And you can see they really pick up through later tomorrow morning and into very early tomorrow afternoon. So I would not be surprised if a severe weather warning around the southwest capes and the south coastal region was issued, and I also wouldn't be surprised if a damaging wind warning was raised around the Perth metro area as well. This cold front has gotten a little bit stronger in the last couple of days, and especially considering its appearance right now, I mean, it does look quite nasty. If you know anything about how these vigorous polar air masses work, you'll know that this is quite a nasty picture here, and especially with the worst of that expected to move across the southwest of WA, that is a bit of a concerning picture. So I'm probably going to have to walk back on my prediction and say that severe weather is now expected across the southwest of Western Australia. Don't be fooled though, it's the type of stuff that we see 5 to 10 times a year, probably close to a dozen times already this year with how rough our winter has been across the southwest of Western Australia, so there's nothing to be panicking about right now. But throughout the southwest, it's definitely a good idea today to pack our way loose outdoor items, put cars under the carport tonight or in the garage, and if you've got anything that could fly around or become airborne into the backyard, make sure that is either strapped down or put inside. Winds could get quite strong through early tomorrow morning, especially through later tomorrow morning and into early tomorrow afternoon before conditions do begin to ease off later on Sunday. But yes, with these wind gusts, they really do get quite up there. You can see by around 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon across the southwest capes, we've got wind gusts offshore pushing up to 115 kilometres an hour. Whilst Perth will dodge the worst of that, they will still get some pretty strong wind gusts up in Perth. Gusts between 100 to 105 kilometres an hour are possible with the heaviest of storm fronts coming through. So yeah, this is definitely a significant cold front and one that should be taken pretty seriously at this point in time. The system then moves into the Great Australian Bight through Monday. It loses quite a lot of steam, but it's expected to kick off about 4 or 5 days of pretty severe and wild weather for the west coast of Tasmania. And you can see that all comes to a bit of a crescendo on Tuesday night with some very strong wind gusts expected to move through the Tasmanian west coast on Tuesday afternoon and evening. And I'm very keen to see what wind gusts we see at Mount Cyclones Island when we've got a forecast set up like this. But in short, for the southeastern corner of the nation, we are talking about some pretty heavy rainfall accumulations into the next 14 days. You can see some decent falls on this forecast modelling here between 100 to 200 millimetres as a possibility, and some pretty good falls as well expected across the south coast of Victoria. Now, this is going to be some pretty typical of this time of the year, but this is going to be some very typical roaring 40s type weather activity. So it's showers at the west coast of Tasmania for the south coast of Victoria, but South Australia and central parts of Victoria are likely to miss out on the bulk of this rainfall here. And even Melbourne and Hobart, considering their more protected nature, we're not looking at widespread heavy rainfall accumulations for those locations as well. And you can see as we push this forecast modelling forward, there's really not an awful lot in the way of rainfall for either Adelaide, Melbourne or Hobart at this point in time. It really is only going to be those exposed locations into the west coast of Tasmania, across the south coast of Victoria and into the southeast corner of South Australia at this point in time. Rainfall will be at its heaviest through Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, easing off a little bit on Thursday and Friday before returning as we get out towards the later parts of next week. Anyways, on that note, plenty of stuff to be talking about still around the wide world of Australian weather. If you have enjoyed this forecast update, then please do let me know in the comment section down below. Leave me some feedback and some a like as well. I was looking for the word there. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Subscribe to the channel if you are brand new. Plenty more stuff to come on to far North Queensland. And please do consider becoming a channel sponsor as well. Click the join button down below for access to some exclusive perks. And speaking of channel sponsors, their names are on screen right now. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you all in the next storm. Goodbye.